Again, ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Joshua Bishop here, aka the Right to Bear Arms, here on YouTube. This is the video we've been waiting for. This will be my week 4 practical application video for FTT 104. It's the Gunsmithing Tools Lab at Sonoran Desert Institute. And as you've seen in the last couple videos, this week's video is going to be all about detail stripping this thing. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is make this firearm safe. And the way to do that with the revolver is to remove the cylinder pin. Remove the cylinder. That's where your ammo is held. Take that out, the ammo's out. So we've got the cylinder removed, the cylinder pin removed. Now the tools we're going to use for this video, we've got just the number 1 Phillips, an H2 flat blade from Grace Tools, and an H3 flat blade. In addition to that, I don't have a decent pair of needle nose pliers right now, so we're going to be using just the old Leatherman. Alright, so with the cylinder off of this, I'm going to go ahead and take this crane arm off. And for that, we'll be using our number 2 flat blade. Try to see if I can adjust some light up here. Bear with me, sorry. We're going to be taking just the screw here out. That's the one that attaches the arm to the frame. Alright, whip this screw out. We're going to put it right into our small parts dish. We'll put our cylinder pin as well. The crane will come right out. Next, we're going to remove the screw here, which holds the retaining pin clip, I guess is what it would be called. So we're going to remove that, pull this screw out. And then I'm going to take I've got an Allen key sitting here. I'm just going to run it right into the center hole of that clip and pull it back towards me, being careful not to lose the clip. And that clip looks like this. So we're going to put that in our parts dish. So now we're going to switch to our H3 flat blade and remove the grip screw. As I mentioned, it's only going to take a few twists because it's a screw on this side and a nut on the back side. So our cylinder and our grips. Here we have our replacement hammer from Numeric Gun Parts Corp. Alright, our next step in this detail strip, is going to be removing this single Phillips head screw. It is a number 1 Phillips head screw, and that's going to give us access to pull this side plate off here. So with our Phillips screwdriver, we're going to do that. This is the same scenario. It's got a screw that runs through the one side and a bolt that sits in the other side. A nut, sorry. Push that out. And then now we are free to remove the side plate. Full disclosure, this is honestly as far as I've taken it down before. But logically, our next step from here, I can see this is loose, so we're going to go ahead and pull the hand off. Careful, it's got a spring there. Place that on the mat. Next, we'll take our pliers and we'll just grab the main spring here at the bottom, twist in on itself, and pull up. And I'm noticing an issue that I didn't notice before, and I'm not very happy about it. As you can see, the hammer is clearly broken. There's a pin here that holds the rebound lever. There's a pin here that holds the trigger, and there's supposed to be a pin here that holds the hammer. But as you can see, that's been broken off. So I'm assuming whatever happened to cause this hammer to break, also subsequently caused the pin in the frame to break as well. And I never noticed that before. So I'm not quite sure how to go about fixing that, or if you can even fix it, because as we mentioned, this is just a cast metal frame. Can you tap cast metal? Maybe you could tap it. It wouldn't be original then, because it would stick out of the backside. I would say the only way to repair this probably would be to drill that out, thread a piece of drill rod the same diameter, just enough that it comes flush to the backside here, and then cut down a pin. But then again, the firearm doesn't cost, but I didn't pay but $50 for it. You can find them for that price all day. Maybe cheaper to just buy a new one with problems and use parts from this one. That's a little disheartening. Regardless, next step, should be able to wiggle this trigger up. There's a small washer on top of the trigger. Be careful to pull that off of the pin as your hammer's coming, or as your trigger's coming up, sorry. Work this back and forth while lifting up on the trigger. That'll allow that spring to flip loose. We can remove the trigger, place it here, remove the trigger spring, and then we should be able to, just pull the rebound lever right off. At this point, there's absolutely nothing else you could take off of this firearm. This is completely detail stripped. And it really sucks that that pin's gone. It had to have just sheared right off. So let's put the rebound lever back on. Get this thing reassembled. Put the rebound lever back on. I'm going to drop the trigger back on. And then this top tab I'm just going to grab with the pliers. I'm going to torque the spring. Bring it up and over the trigger. Alright, so as you can see, flip it around here. The bottom legs of the spring are caught on the frame underneath here. And the top leaf connects to the nub on the trigger. Alright, so let's dig our small flat washer back out. Put that back over the trigger pin. Alright. Then our next step would be to put our new hammer back over the hammer pin. But I suppose, since this is now going to have to be a wall hanger, The main spring was holding it before, so the main spring should hold this one as well. Alright, so now on to the hand. Just looking at that, that looks a little weird too. I don't know if you can tell just how twisted that is on camera. Let me see, put it against our aluminum block here. You can see the level of bend on that sheet metal there. Anyways, regardless, we've determined we're never going to shoot this again. So put the spring back in its slot. That will sit just like this. Alright, with that in place, we're now going to move on to the main spring. The main spring sits against this lug. The light really reflects off of this nickel. There's a notch here on the back of the hammer. The spring's going to sit with the flat against that. And then this side again, we're just going to take it with our pliers and bend it up forward in front of that screw hole. So there is a good cutaway version of this firearm. Our next piece, we're going to put on here it is, side plate here. Get it down in the notch. There it goes. Let's take our nut and put it in the back side of the frame. Take our Phillips head screw and drop it through this side, starting in reverse until we feel it drop into the threads, and then going forward. Put our left side grip on and our right side grip. The nut in the right side grip. Drop the screw through the left side grip. We're going to go back with our H3 flat blade. Again, starting in reverse till we feel the screw drop into the threads on the nut, and then continuing forward or right. Get that in there tight. I know I mentioned previously that I was probably going to blue the screw head of this. After discovering what we've discovered, I don't think I'm going to put much more into it. I'm actually wish I would have looked a little deeper before I went spending the money on the replacement parts, but here we are now, so nothing we can do about it. Get our cylinder pin, cylinder bushing, our crane and crane screw. The next piece we're going to put in is we're going to put our retaining washer back in, or our retaining clip. Don't drop it. Use just the same Allen key and push forward. And that sits in there just like that. Going to put the smaller of the two screws in that. Back with our H number 2 screwdriver. And again, turning counterclockwise until we feel the screw drop into the pre-cut threads, and then turning clockwise until it's tight. Now this is pot metal, so I'm not going to over tighten it, just snug it up. Next, we're going to put our crane back in the frame and run our long screw through it. Sorry about that. Again, turning counterclockwise until we feel the screw drop into the threads, and then continuing on clockwise. Just until it's tight. With that done, we are going to put the bushing back in through the cylinder. Put the cylinder back onto the crane. And drop the pin through. Now, sadly, we cannot function check this because I know what's going to happen without that hammer pin being in there now. Um, but that is the firearm completely stripped and put back together. I had hoped for better results, honestly, but I guess this is what you get when you get a cast iron, cast pot metal firearm. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.